Home builders are starting to feel a toll from 7% mortgage interest rates as new home construction sales dropped in April and housing inventory has been piling up, to say the least. So for example, the number of new houses for sale in the United States just hit a 16-year high, the highest level since February of 2008. Meanwhile, builder confidence has also been going down as of late, and based on a survey that was posted last month, 57% of home builders are offering incentives to home buyers, but that did not help increase sales for the month of April. A huge amount of changes occurring right now regarding new houses and inventory levels nationwide, to say the least. Today's video literally took me hours to make, so I hope you guys get a lot of value in today's video. And of course, if you do get any value, then please hit the like button. Also, consider subscribing as well. I post frequent housing market updates so you guys could be more informed. I always end my videos saying, hey, what's your biggest takeaway? At the end of this video, I'll also provide my biggest takeaways as well. Also have some advice for you guys. If you guys are interested in potentially buying a brand new house this year, even next year, I have some advice for you guys regarding that as well. And that's based on the data I'm sharing in today's video. So in any case, let's have a look at the report. This was just posted on May 23rd. It covers the month of April this year. I want to mention this as well. There was a notice of revision. So with this release, seasonally adjusted estimates for housing units sold. Today's video is only looking at brand new single-family houses, inventory levels, home prices, and home sales. So they actually revised their numbers for home sales, housing units for sale, or housing inventory, and the month supply of new houses, which was revised back to January of 2019. In any case, looking at this report, they define a sale, and this, by the way, is from the U.S. Census Bureau. So they define a sale as a sales agreement signed between a home builder and home buyer, or a deposit taken. And this can occur prior to a permit being issued. So a new home sale is really more like a pending home sale, a contract being signed between builder and a buyer. And on top of that, this new home sale can be a dirt lot in which the house is going to be built, 6 to 12 months from now, or it can be a house under construction or a completed house. I have some news to share regarding that because the number of houses completed that are for sale at extremely high levels, 3 times the levels from just 2 years ago, which is a recipe for disaster for home builders. And I'll have a lot more to share regarding that here in a little bit. In any case, let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's talk about sales. We'll talk about inventory levels and then home prices. I have a lot to share, to say the least. Let me kind of zoom in right here. So these are houses for sale. These figures are seasonally adjusted. They're also annualized as well. And these figures are in thousands of units. Again, only looking at brand new single-family home sales. So for the month of April, there was 634,000. That was a sales pace in April at 634,000. That's down by about 5% from March and down by 7.7% from April of 2023. Something I found to be interesting is that at 634, this is well below the street's estimate at 677,000. This is also below pre-COVID levels as well, because back in 2019, it was more normal to see home sales in the range of around 700,000. Now we're at 634,000. As I always say, every housing market's different, right? So they actually break this down by each of the 4 major regions: the Northeast, the Midwest, the South, and the West. So the only region that posted a gain from the previous month was actually the Midwest, up by 10%, but all other regions recorded decreases, especially in the Northeast, down by nearly 21%. In contrast, for sales compared to 12 months ago, the Northeast was flat. The Midwest surged by 27.5%, whereas the South and the West decreased by 15% and 5% respectively. Let's take a look at our good Uncle Fred regarding new single-family houses that sold. Again, this is annualized rate at 634,000. This has been coming down really ever since June last year, more or less a downward trend. On top of that, looking over the past 10 years, we're way below the peak that was set back in October of 2020 at about 1 million houses that sold. Now we're well below that at 634,000. Also looking at pre-pandemic levels, it's more normal to see sales in the range of around 700. Now we're actually below that at 634,000. In my opinion, one of the reasons why we're seeing a decrease in sales this April is due to 7% mortgage interest rates. Because for the month of April, again, that's when the home buyer got their offer accepted from the home builder, a pending home sale really. The average 30-year fixed rate, according to Freddie Mac, was at 6.99%. The month before that, back in March, we're at 6.82%. And then in January, we're at 6.64%. So rates have increased by approximately 40 basis points compared to January. And because of this lack of housing affordability, this is one of the reasons why sales, in my personal opinion, have been going down this April. And again, keep in mind, sales incentives are still given to home buyers right now, which is pretty wild to see that 57% of builders are offering sales incentives to buyers, yet sales still decrease in April. All right, let's get back to the report and let's talk about inventory levels because I have a lot to share regarding that. I was absolutely mesmerized by this report, especially regarding inventory levels. So for April, there was 480,000 new homes for sale. Again, this could be a dirt lot in which you can put a deposit down and the home builder starts building a house. It could be a completed house or it can be a house under construction. So in any case, these homes for sale at 480,000, that's an increase of 12.1% from 12 months ago. On top of that, that's the highest level for any month since February of 2008. In other words, a 16-year high for inventory levels of brand new houses. Absolutely insane. On top of that, I looked at April of 2019. These figures are seasonally adjusted, but the inventory numbers are not annualized. So anyways, looking at April of 2019, there's approximately 44% more new single-family houses now compared to then. So in other words, we have a glut of inventory to say the least. On top of that, the month supply is at 9.1 months. 1 year ago, we were at 7.5 months. So the month supply has increased by 7% in one single month and up by a whopping 21.3% from 12 months ago. This report is just kind of laughable, but I'll have some advice for you guys as well because inventory is absolutely skyrocketing for new houses. So there's some deals to be had for home buyers out there. In my personal opinion, every market's different, but looking at national trends, there's a glut of supply in the United States right now. So this 9.1 month supply right now is lower compared to the recent peak back in 2022. But when looking at pre-pandemic years, the month supply hasn't been as high since May of 2010. A more balanced real estate market for new home construction is in the range of 5 to 6 months and not 9.1 months. Let's have a look at our good Uncle Fred regarding inventory levels at $480,000. Look at April of 2019. Back then, there was approximately 333,000, now at 480,000. That's been basically going straight up ever since 2021. It did start to go down in the early parts of 2023, but more or less has been rising ever since the fall months last year. Looking over the past several decades, at 480,000 was the highest levels we've had going back to approximately February of 2008. Absolutely insane. And on top of that, besides the run-up in the Great Recession, and of course during the Great Recession, we haven't seen levels this high going back to at least the early 1960s, the highest levels on record when excluding the Great Recession. Additionally, when looking at the month supply at 9.1 months, this is lower than the peak back in July 2022, when the month supply was at 10.6 months. But look at April of 2019. Back then, the month supply was only let me find it here, 5.7 months. On top of that, it's more normal to see the month supply in the range of 5 to 6 months and not 9.1 months. So zooming out, going back to 2006, at 9.1 months, this is actually the highest pre-COVID levels we've had going back to May of 2010. Back then, the month supply was at 9.3 months. What's absolutely wild regarding inventory levels right now is this right here. Again, completed houses is something I've been tracking for several years now. I've been telling you guys, this is a metric we should closely follow, because if builders are constructing houses, they're completing them, but they're not able to sell them, that is a recipe for disaster. If you're looking to buy a house, I would look for a completed house, because there's some deals to be had, in my opinion. Anyways, looking at the number of completed houses for sale, there was 98,000 in April. This is much higher compared to 69,000 1 year ago. And the level of completed houses for sale has been basically going up every single month for the past 12 months. And just to give you guys some context regarding this level at 98,000, extremely high levels. The highest we've had going back to December of 2009. Looking at any month, the highest level since 2009. On top of that, this is more than 3 times higher compared to the lows that was set back in February of 2022, when back then there was around 31,000 completed houses for sale. Now there's 98,000. This is also 27% higher compared to April of 2019. Again, this should be a warning sign for home builders out there, because every market's different, but these are extremely high levels and also higher compared to pre-COVID levels as well. Just think of it this way. Let me just break this down. So if you're a builder, you have a ton of dirt lots in which you're trying to get a home buyer to place an offer on those dirt lots. You get your offer accepted, then the builder starts building the house. So if you're a home builder, you have a lot of dirt lots, you're trying to sell them. No big deal if you have a lot of them in general, because there's not a lot of sunk costs in a dirt lot. Of course, there's permits involved, acquiring the land, etc., but there's much more sunk costs for a completed house. Think of all the subcontractors, concrete, wood, all the stuff inside the house. There's a lot of costs involved in building a house. So if a home builder is building houses right now, but they're not able to sell them, again, that's a recipe for disaster because of all the costs associated with building houses right now, and just in general as well. So having said that, let's have a look at the number of completed houses for sale nationwide. Right now, 98,000 has been going straight up ever since really the spring months of 2022, when we bottomed out in February at 31,000. Now we're more than 3 times that at 98,000. Also looking at April of 2019, 77,000. So very elevated levels, to say the least. Going back to the earliest we have is the 1999 or January 1999 at 98,000. This is actually the highest amount we've had going back to approximately December of 2009. Also, just for fun, look at the peak back in 2007. Back then, 194,000 completed houses for sale, 100,000 more than we have right now. So go figure why home prices tanked in 2008 and 2009, of course. Now, having said that, let's talk about home prices. And I'm talking about the median sold price nationwide based on contracts being signed between buyers and sellers, not a completed sale. Anyways, looking at April of 2023, we were at $417,200. This April, $433,500. So home prices have increased by 4.5% from 12 months ago. In my personal opinion, this is quite remarkable given the glut of inventory levels. But on top of that, home sizes have been decreasing as well. One thing we do not know though, and this is something that's much different compared to the resale market. When talking about home prices for brand new home construction, what is not disclosed is the amount or the type of sales incentives that were given to the home buyer. So looking at these sales for April, are home builders giving $20,000 closing cost credit, giving free builder upgrades and a 5% mortgage rate, or not, right? So those figures are not disclosed. But what I look at is a monthly survey from the National Association of Home Builders. As I shared with you guys at the very beginning of this video, approximately 57% of home builders are offering some form of sales incentives to home buyers. So it's kind of hard to compare apples to apples here because, 1 year ago, builders could have been offering less incentives than they are today, for example. Who knows? Speaking of the decrease in home sizes, here's something I found for you guys. And this is from the US Census Bureau. Square feet, the median number of completed houses. So for Q1 of 2024, the median number of square footage for brand new houses, for single family houses, was 2,176. Back in the first quarter last year, 1 year ago, it was 2,287. So approximately 100 square feet less compared to the first quarter of 2023. But despite the lower home size, home prices increased by 4.5%. I mention that because the vast majority of home sales for the month of April were completed houses. 303,000 out of the 634,000 that sold for the month of April. After that was houses under construction at 248,000. I have some thoughts regarding this as well because we're seeing more home sales of completed houses, yet inventory of completed houses actually absolutely going up, right? The highest level since December of 2009. So as a note right there, most of the sales were completed this April, yet the supply of finished houses or completed houses for sale has been surging, which is suggesting to me that sales of completed houses is not keeping up with the number of houses finishing construction. So builders finishing construction of houses, yet the supply of completed houses going up the highest levels in many, many years. As I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, of course, I'd love to hear your takeaways from today's video. Please leave me your thoughts regarding that because, of course, there could be some things I miss. Of course, everyone is different regarding their take. So I want to provide my own, my biggest takeaways from this report as well. So in general, sales of brand new houses are trending downward despite home builders offering sales incentives to buyers such as free upgrades, a closing cost credit, and or a lower mortgage interest rate. In my neck of the woods, which is Sacramento, I'm seeing home builders offering incentives in the form of a lower rate, but on top of that, a closing cost credit, $10,000 to $15,000 in reduction in your out-of-pocket expenses if you want to buy a brand new house. On top of that, we're seeing inventory at a 16-year high on a national level, and the month supply is at 9.1 months, well above the 5 to 6 month normal range, right? What was most alarming to me is the number of completed houses for sale because that has more than tripled compared to 2 years ago, going from 31,000 completed houses for sale. Now it's at 98,000. On top of that, the number of completed houses for sale, the highest level since 2009. This should be a warning sign for builders because if they're finishing construction but not able to sell those houses, that's a recipe for disaster due to all the costs already incurred into building a house. This is much different than not being able to sell dirt lots in which you want to get an offer accepted from a home buyer and then start building the house. There's not a lot of sunk costs in a dirt lot compared to a completed house. I think we all can agree on that. Again, new home prices rose by 4.5% from April of 2023. But what's not disclosed is how many and how much sales incentives were given to the home buyer, making it very challenging to compare apples to apples and month to month numbers regarding prices and sales, frankly, as well. Also, we saw a significant rise to inventory plus elevated rates, which could likely hamper price growth in the near term. So here's my advice for you guys. If you guys are looking to buy a brand new house, if you want to buy a brand new house and all the stars are aligning for you guys, you have your finances in order, you have long-term time horizons in which you plan to not sell your house for 7 to 10 plus years, because historically speaking, you should be able to ride the ebbs and flows of the housing market. On top of that, if you have a stable job and an emergency fund, even after you buy the house, if you want to buy a brand new house or a house in general, I would get linked up with a great real estate agent in your neck of the woods and go find a deal on a completed house. Again, a home builder is much more incentivized to get a deal on the house and negotiate for a completed house in which it's just sitting there, the home builder just waiting for someone to place an offer, and they can close in 30 to 60 days. So home builders are much more willing to negotiate on a home that's done compared to a dirt lot. I can see that in my neck of the woods as well. All these sales incentives offered for completed houses, and then a dirt lot, there's not a lot of wiggle room on the price in general. An experienced agent should be able to do much more than just sign a piece of paper and register you as their home buyer. In my opinion, an experienced agent working on your behalf should be able to negotiate with the home builder on your behalf a lower price, a closing cost credit, free builder upgrades, and more. On top of that, your agent should review the sales contract with you, plus the disclosures as well. This is a challenge as well when buying a brand new house. You actually have to sign the builder's contract. So in my neck of the woods, Sacramento again, in California, if you're looking to buy an existing house, not a brand new house, you have a form that every agent in the state has from the California Association of Realtors. That form, in my opinion, protects the home buyer much more so than the home seller. In contrast, when buying a brand new house, you use the builder's sales contract, which in my opinion, protects the home builder and not the home buyer. On top of that, I've seen contracts that are hundreds of pages long compared to a very short stack from the California Association of Realtors for existing houses. I would imagine this is very similar for other states as well. Home builder contracts in general protect the builder and not the home buyer. So you want to have an experienced agent who can review the contract, the disclosures with you, discuss the pros and cons, and any risks that they see in as well. Because again, when signing that contract, a lot of times you don't have ways in order to get your deposit back. You don't have in general a loan contingency or an appraisal contingency. But again, every market's different and every sales contract is different as well. But make sure you're linked up with a great real estate agent, and do that before you visit the sales office at the home builder, because in general, the home builder is not going to allow you to be represented by your own agent unless you bring your agent with you during your first visit at the builder's development. In any case, if you guys want a real estate agent referral, check out my website, which is realestateteamfinder.com. Or if you're looking to buy or sell a house in the greater Sacramento area, please reach out to me at jason@meetjasonwalter.com. You also can go to my website as well, which again is realestateteamfinder.com. Anyways, this video took me literally all morning to make, so hope you guys are still watching today's video. Of course, if you are, here's a virtual high five. I hope you guys have an awesome day. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.